We're live. What? I don't even know what that was. That was weird. Okay. Let's get that up here. Let's get this over here. Okay. Just stop being like that. Why don't you? All right. No one's here yet. So take a minute. Still no one. All right. No one loves me. That's fine. I don't need anybody. I'm just going to talk to myself. That works. Oh, well, my wife is the first to say hello, as it should be. Mighty Mouse, what's up? I love you too. Ariadne, are you at work? You're always at work. So, let's see here. I found something earlier that I wanted to look through, but I don't know what the hell happened. Is this the one? Of course you are. Of course you are. That's all right. Da-da-da. I don't know. We'll just get through this the way we want to. How is everyone doing? Is everyone going to go see Abigail this week? Is everyone planning on seeing Abigail as they should? Yeah, Kaylee's at work. I got a little kitty dog gladiator match happening right next to me. They love each other, I think. Taking my daughter to see it tomorrow. Perfect. Well, we went to see it yesterday. A buddy of mine was there with his daughter who was 10. And that made me very sad and happy because my 11-year-olds would never go to Abigail with me. They would never watch an R-rated movie with me because their mom would kill them and me. And I don't understand it, but people are so against showing horror movies to kids. So silly. So yeah, I just, because it's there's been a few killer kid type films as of late, I thought it'd be fun to sit down for a little bit here and talk about some killer kids or evil kids in horror. My daughter is 9. She's a massive horror fan like us and tough as nails. Yeah, I just don't have those kids. I don't know what happened. I can't get my kids into anything that I'm into for any reason. Duritan, what is going on? My biggest fan. You know who doesn't show up anymore is Schmarlos. I think we scared him off. He used to come in all the time, but I think he was tired of getting made fun of. Can't blame the guy, but he was funny. It always was a pretty funny thing to watch him type away a bunch of silly things. So, rip Schmarlos. When I have kids, I'll definitely introduce them to horror media. I hope they like it. Good luck. Good luck. You would think if any kids were going to like horror, it would be my kids. But no, of course not. Your kids always do that. They always do the opposite of what you want them to. The reason is because I pay so much attention to my kids' interests that they don't have to like my interests to get my attention, right? So a lot of the time what happens, and not always, of course, but a lot of the times what happens is that kids are looking for their parents' attention. So they'll get into their music, they'll get into their movies, they'll get into their sports. I know this happened with my father and I because I could never get him to show any interest in the things that I was into. So I had to get into the Phoenix Suns for him and I to connect. And while I did eventually end up really enjoying it, pretty much at first, it was just a way to try to figure out a way to bond with him. But because I let my kids listen to whatever they want in the car, and because I'll watch whatever they want to watch most of the time, they don't have to try to connect with me by watching what I want. So I think that's probably where I went wrong, if that's what you want to call it. But, it is what it is. I'm starting to warm up to horror. Okay, well, I mean, you're here. That definitely shows that you are into it. You subscribed to this channel. So there you go. And I'm actually still awake. So I am here. Silent Evil, what time is it where you are at? You must not be in the United States if you're talking about still being up. Unless you're talking about still being up from yesterday, then that's definitely a long period of time. Because if I was still up, which is unfortunately happens to me all too often, every Thursday night, I can't seem to sleep. It's some weird thing where Thursday nights suck for me. And what's tonight? Oh, is it Thursday? Hope it doesn't happen tonight. We'll see. Kaylee will tell me that I'm going to sleep well tonight, but she's typically wrong on that. So anyway, we got a few people here now, so I think that we should discuss Evil Kids, in celebration of Abigail and Megan and, the birth of the Antichrist, Damien from the first Omen. There's a lot of evil kids going on right now. Jason, are you a fan of the Silent Hill film? In my opinion, it's one of the best game to film adaptations. I like them. I like the first one. The second one I saw in theaters. I remember it being not as good, but I don't, with the Silent Hill game movie adaptation, I'm not really the best person to ask because I've not really played any Silent Hill games. It's just kind of one thing that has eluded me. I did buy Silent Hill Downpour because a lot of people loved that one and recommended that one, and it was like the newest Silent Hill at that time. But I am looking forward to the Silent Hill 2 remake, and I think that could bring me into the Silent Hill fandom. It is annoying, though, that these franchises seem to skip their first game. Resident Evil remade 2, 3, and 4, not 1. And now Silent Hill is doing 2. At least Dead Space did part 1. But I find it odd that Resident Evil and now Silent Hill both skip their first games. And it's like, why? Why would you do that? Why not do Resident Evil 1? I know they did a remaster and a remake kind of, but like with today's graphics, like they should have done that because I really enjoyed and I played through and beat Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4, the new ones, and I really enjoyed the shit out of them. They were super fun redos of that because, man, they are so different. That kind of like fixed camera angle thing, not great. But yeah, I just haven't gotten to the Silent Hill games, but I would love to see. I have a problem with like 2000s retro gaming, kind of like PlayStation 1, even PlayStation 2. The graphics and the gameplay are so clunky and so unappealing that I genuinely have like no fun replaying any of them. It's weird. I just can't do it. I can do PlayStation 3. That's about as far back as I can go. And then I can also do like NES and SNES. And but PlayStation 1, 2 era, Xbox, the original, those I don't like them. I don't like playing them. I find the gameplay of that time to not work well. And that's why I think these remakes of Resident Evil 2, 3, 4, and that, I think, really service the game very well for today, because fuck, those old school controls were rough. Resident Evil, where you have to you had a fixed camera angle and you'd walk forward and then the gun would either be forward or up, and oh no. No, I can't do it. It's I just hate it so much. I'm so used to today's gaming that I just get so frustrated playing it. And because I don't take a lot of time to game as much as I wish I would, I want to enjoy my experience. The game I'm playing right now is Ghost of Tsushima, which I'm enjoying very much. So, and anyway, let's move on from games. I missed a bunch of shit. I sure hope you sleep good, honey. Yes, thank you. We'll see. Yeah, I woke up after 6 p.m. last night. It's a little after 1 p.m. right now here. Oh, okay. So you are here. It's 1. Yeah, it's 1:21 where I'm at. So you must be in my time zone somewhere. I'm just a fan of demon stuff. I'm just not a fan of demon stuff. Okay. Scary kids are nope as well. There you go. What are you a fan of? What in horror are you into? It's the year of evil kids, apparently. Well, last year it was evil mothers or mothering. So it would make sense for it to go down the line to the kids. Sometimes evil kids work, like Gage in the original Pet Cemetery, Damon Leone. Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of Killer Kids because, of course, it catches you off guard. Kids are supposed to be innocent. Kids are supposed to be angelic. Kids are supposed to be, weak, meek, and you're supposed to protect them, and you're not supposed to have to fear them for any reason. And when they are killers, it definitely is one of the harder things to defend yourself against, because you're always going to turn your back to a child. You're never going to think that the kid is going to do anything to you. So a kid kind of has a one up on you, but they got to take you by surprise, right? Like a kid's not going to be able to take you from the front and make it known to you that they're coming, because I can overpower any child. But you turn your back on them and they stick you in the neck without you looking. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that, right? So I don't care how tough you are. Everybody's neck slits just the same. So when you put you put your trust into something that seems so innocent, it can backfire on you. That's why most people get killed by their spouses, right? Because we sleep together and we are in a lot of vulnerable positions with our spouses. They're sleeping right next to us and they would be very easy to kill. So I think that same thing with kids. You just never see it coming. You never expect it. And it's terrifying to think that your child would do something. My kids could kill me for sure, because I always am off. I'm not on guard with them in any way, shape, or form. So if I was just like sitting on the couch and my kid came up behind me and just stuck a knife into my neck, I would never expect that in a million years. So I think the idea of killer kids and evil kids is terrifying, because of how off guard you are with them in general. Was trying to finish listening to the director's audio commentary for the second Silent Hill film. I didn't even know it had one. Let's see. I remember playing Downpour. I just got the Japanese import. Hopefully upcoming. Yeah, Silent Hill 2 I'm looking forward to for sure. Sometimes they fail, like the Ghost Kids and Sinister. They didn't scare me at all. Yeah, I mean, it's really, of course, going to be subjective. What's scary and what isn't. But some are just kids, right? Some are genuinely just kids, and some are supernatural. And anytime something's supernatural, this is why I always laugh when people talk about superheroes and they're like, oh, a woman superhero, like she wouldn't be as strong. And it's like, Based on what? It's supernatural. Like the woman having superpowers can't even be equal or stronger than a man, even in fantasy. Like that's so stupid. Of course she can. So like when something like Captain Marvel comes out, people are like, "Oh my god, like she's a woman and how could she be so powerful?" It's like you're no longer a sex at that point. You are just a vessel for power, right? So it doesn't matter what your physical outward strength looks like. You have fucking superpowers, and superpowers can be whatever the writer says they are. They can have god powers. They can just fucking, put their hand in the air and the entire universe explodes if they want. I mean, it's fucking fiction. So to think that, anyone is limited in fantasy is just purely absurd to me. So yeah, with kids, you have like kids who are just kids, like Macaulay Culkin's character in The Good Son, or Esther in The Orphan, or Kevin and We Need to Talk About Kevin, or those are just regular kids straight across, right? The kids in Eden Lake, the kid in Better Watch Out, the and then you get into the monstrous kids, like the kids from The Brood, or and the Children of the Corn. Those are just kids to a degree. They're kind of a mix. They're actually they're kids, but they're also kind of being controlled by He Who Walks Behind the Rose, and He Who Walks Behind the Rose is supernatural. So I feel like he kind of gives them a little bit of an unfair advantage over the adults. There's the bad seed, right? Like there's so many examples of just regular old kids. And then there's the supernatural kids, and they can vary in strengths, like all the way up to something like Brendan Breyer or whatever from Brightburn. That kid is he's Superman, basically. And what are you going to do against Superman? You're going to die, right? So there's nothing you can do against that kid. But yeah, so let me get back to these comments. What the fuck? Damn, that's true. I wish we got Resident Evil 1 in the remake. Yeah, I agree. Remaking Silent Hill 2 is like remaking Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. Good luck being as good. I mean, I thought Resident Evil 2 was a masterpiece when it came out. When PlayStation released that, I thought it was like best shit ever. I play it now, and I just genuinely I can't enjoy it. And I played the hell out of Resident Evil 2, the remake, and I loved it. So I think just with modern gaming, it really just comes down to a preference. Some people very much prefer classic retro gaming controls, and that's how their brain functions and works and is kind of attuned to that frequency, as to where some people are just more into modern gaming and the mechanics and the gaming controls and all of that of modern gaming. So and also the visual component, right? Like some people enjoy the retro look. My wife really enjoys this like retro stuff. She wants to get this game called like what's it called, babe? Something, The History of Horror, World of Horror, I think, of something like that. That looks like a game made freaking 25 years ago, but she's all about it. And Undertale, another game that she loves. Like, I'm just not into that. I'm not into, hey, my kids are in here. Hi, honey. Which one are you? Which one of my daughters is here? Both of you? Hi. I love when I see my kids in here. I was just talking about you guys. If you're still here, are you still here? Tell me if you're still here. I was just saying that you guys, everyone was talking about how their kids were into horror, and I was like, I can't get my kids into horror. So let me know if you're here. I'd love to see in the comments. Anyway, let's see. Jesus Christ. It's so hard to keep up. I'm like one of the only people that genuinely tries to read every comment. Like, and I know why now. I really know why. The folly of this. It's really just, it's so complicated to try to keep up with everyone's comments. But I do my best. I really do. And sometimes I miss them. Ghost of Tsushima, yeah, it's great. Definitely get it. It looks just as good as any game today, even though it's a generation old. It still just looks phenomenal. Same thing with Days Gone. There's games from the PlayStation 4 era that just look as good as the games right now. And it's because they're only like 5 years old, but man, they look incredible. Like Last of Us Part 2 or whatever, even though that just got a graphics remaster, which I did buy and I have yet to play. I got Trek to for a really good sales price. Okay, I don't know that game. I think I've seen it. Let me see. My kids here. No, it doesn't seem like they're still here. Bummer. Okay, well, that's all right. Jason holding up the Ford. Have you guys seen The Vast of Night? Oh, yeah. I talk about that movie a little bit here and there. It's kind of a Twilight Zone Amazon original film about these kids that are talking on the radio. Yeah, it's a cool movie. I think if you're a big fan of Twilight Zone, that's definitely one to look out for. Oh no, I might have to skip class because of errands and I don't have school tomorrow. I bet you're jealous, Kaylee. I love you, Father. I'm going to go annoy Mother now. Well, I love you, kiddo, even though you're not here. I'm going to assume that's Oliver, but I don't know for sure. I'm so jealous. Bye, ladies. I saw the black cat there in the corner. Yeah. That's Bean. Little Beans. Kaylee already answered that. See, I'm too far behind. Oh, it's a girl. I love her. I'm not leaving, just saying bye to the kiddos. Oh, good. There's a possibility of supernatural elements in Children of the Corn. I agree. Oh, good. Kaylee's here with us. Do you think, where'd it go? Damien, the first Omen, was evil and knew everything was happening. With Damien, I don't think he's fully aware of what's happening, but I think that he starts to get it. And I think that's like destiny, right? I think that he's kind of getting messages, and because he has that woman kind of take him, I think she is probably who lets him in on all of it. And by the end of the film, when he's smiling at the camera, with the White House and everything, he's fully aware at that point, right? And then when we meet up with him in the second Omen, he's fully aware. So at first, like when they go to the church and he's screaming and he doesn't, I don't think he knows what's going on there. I think he genuinely is just scared, and it's just an overwhelming fear. He doesn't really know what it's coming from. When he sees the woman hang herself for him, I think that starts to kind of open up his mind a little bit. I don't know. So I think somewhere along the way, he gets the message that yes, he is the Antichrist, that there's something about him. Twisted, thank you for the money. $4.99. I appreciate that. Yes, Arachnophobia, 1990 film review will be great from you all. Yeah. We started watching that, when we were doing a little spider-thon for a minute there after we watched Sting and the upcoming Infested movie. I was like, well, spiders will probably be a big topic. We should probably cover the most famous spider film in horror, Arachnophobia. And so we started watching it, but because our time is so fucking limited all the fucking time, we never seem to be able to get to finish so many movies. I can't tell you how many movies we started, how many movies we've watched and never got around to reviewing. Kaylee gets off of work and we try to get all of our time that we have together, situated so that we can watch and record and upload, and I do all of that part of thing, a part of the channel, like the uploading, the everything. Basically, Kaylee watches the movies and reviews them with me, and then everything else is me, which makes sense because she has a full-time job and I have a part-time job. and then I work on the channel. And it's funny, somebody was coming at me for like monetization today, and it was like, or you could just not monetize your channel at all. Like basically, like I don't want ads. And it's like, you have any idea how many fucking work that I actually put into this channel? Like people think that these channels are so simple that you just sit in front of a camera and you just record and that's that. This is literally like a full-time job, legitimately. And it's not me complaining. I'm not sitting here like, woe is me, feel bad for me. What I'm saying is that I put way more work into this than I do into my actual career, like way more work. So yes, I monetize it and we still don't make much money, and we try our best to bring you stuff that you guys would like and are interested in, but we just can't seem to break through to get people to click and subscribe and like and whatever. I don't know what it is. I've tried 600 different things now. I've taken classes on it. I can't seem to figure it out. So I don't know. Anyways, moving on from that. So I appreciate the money. And yes, arachnophobia. We should get to it eventually. Coolest couple doing it. I agree. I don't know what other couples are doing it, but we're better. World of Horror. Okay. Was that what I said? World. I said some, and I thought I said also World of Horror. I could have been wrong. You guys really got to play Blasphemous and the sequel. I think Kaylee, yeah, that game looks exciting. She showed that to me. There's as much difference between Silent Hill and Resident Evil as there is Star Trek and Star Wars. Oh, I have no doubt, which is great. I mean, I want them to have totally different stories. You're the best, Jason, and so are you, Kaylee. I agree. Kaylee is the best. We are probably going to get that review up tonight. Zach didn't get to watch the episode last. Oh, Chucky, dude, trust me, we're getting it. We're getting it. We had to go to Abigail last night. It was a 45-minute drive from here, 45-minute drive back. Then we had to review it. And then by that time, it was Kaylee's bedtime. Took our literal entire night. One movie took from 6 o'clock, where we had to leave the house, till 10:30 at night, 4.5 hours to review one film. One film that was an hour and 40 minutes long took 4.5 hours of our night because of the driving, because of the recording, because of the uploading. And then after that, I had to spend an hour making thumbnails, tagging, uploading, editing. And then I had to re-edit because the monetization got taken down from the clips that I inserted. So I had to go back in at 3 a.m. and take the clips out and re-upload it. That video took half of my day for one review. So anybody ever thinks these channels are fucking easy, they try it. Have fun. We love our little community. I agree. This is the best horror channel. I love you guys. Thank you. This video, dang, okay. I think I'm almost to the bottom now, and then we can talk about some kids here. Can you review the Omen movies? I already did. They're already up all for you. You can watch every single one of them right now. Have you guys watched the Spanish Wreck movies? I reviewed all of those, I think. Well, I definitely did. I don't know. I did. I think I might have done them all. I think I did 1, 2, and 3, and then I did Quarantine 1 and 2. I don't know if I did 4. For some reason, I feel like I didn't, because I couldn't find it at that time, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm looking right now as we chat because I'm super curious. Rec. Let's see. I did Rec 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I did not do 4 as I expected. And then I should have done Quarantine. I don't know, somewhere in there. I'm pretty sure I did both of those. Anyways, okay. let's see. So I think the most obvious killer kid or like evil kid in a movie is Reagan from The Exorcist. Um, you know, when it comes to that, it's always that question of, is that an evil kid or is that a kid that is possessed, right? Like that's a possession movie. And while it is still the same, right? It's like um you have a kid who's being evil, and I understand that argument to it. There's a difference, of course, right? Between a kid who's just fucking evil, like, as I said, Macaulay Culkin's character in The Good Son, where that kid's just straight up fucking evil. Like that is his choice, right? Like Reagan. What's so terrible about Reagan is that we get to know Reagan for the first like 30 minutes of the movie, and when she's like the cutest little fucking kid. She's so joyous and happy. And while she has some stuff with her dad who's not really around, she's a great kid, right? And she has no ill intent towards anybody. And when Pazuzu takes possession of her, it's tragic. It's tragic because Reagan doesn't want to do any of the things that she's doing. She doesn't want to be harming herself and others, right? So that's, I think, that distinction needs to always be made of the killer kid who is in control of their body, is in control of who they are. Now you can take the orphan, on the other hand, right, with Esther, and you can say, oh, well, that's a killer kid movie. But the twist is that it is not a killer kid movie. We can see it as a killer kid movie, but it isn't a killer kid movie. That's a 30-something-year-old woman who is posing as a child. But because we see her as a kid throughout the film, it catches us off guard. And you can also pair with that the absolutely, surprisingly great prequel, Orphan First Kill, which I think all of us expected to be shit and ended up being really damn good. And we are all super surprised by that, because I wasn't expecting that movie to work. And I also, sure as shit, was not expecting it to also have a twist that I found to be even better than the other twist, because the twist in Orphan, I actually figured out maybe a half an hour before it was revealed. And I leaned over to the person I was with in the theater and I was like, I think this kid is not a kid. I think this is actually a fucking adult posing as a kid. And they like were pissed off at me because they were like, you ruined the fucking movie. And I was like, I'm sorry, I just figured it out. I don't even know what brought that to me in the theater, but I did not guess the twist in the new one. I was shocked by that, and I thought that was great. So you could call Esther a killer kid, but is she? She's not really. She's a killer adult. She's just a regular killer. So there are weird gray areas like that. And then there's also something like Let the Right One In, right? Or Kirsten Dunst's character in Interview with the Vampire, or even Abigail, right? Where, yes, they have the body of a child, but internally they've been around for hundreds of years. So they're older than most adult killers in horror movies, right? So it's like, they're not really kids. They have child bodies. They have the physical appearance of a child, but they are not children, right? Like, and that's the tragedy of Kirsten Dunst's character. That's the tragedy of the Let the Right One In character, is that they are adults, but they have a child body, and they want to be adults and they can't be. And so everyone always looks at them as children. So that's an interesting thing to talk about when it comes to killer kids in these movies. Is it A, that they're possessed and they don't have control of their body, and therefore it's not really the kids that are killers, it's the demons that control them? And then also, are they actually children because of a supernatural element that makes them older than kids? Because once you have been around on the planet for what we say is 18 years, but it could even be more, they're adults, right? Whether their physical body ages or not. Like, if your physical body never aged, are you still a child if your body doesn't grow? Right? Obviously, we have like little people like midgets, right? That's not the same as like a literal person who genuinely looks like a child. Like Gary Coleman, right? He looked like a kid forever. And it's like he's still an adult, right? When he grew up, he's still an adult because he aged out. But if you look at like Edward Cullen in the Twilight movies, like it's kind of creepy that he's in love with Bella, who's like a 16, 17-year-old girl, and he's like 100 something. But because he looks 17, everyone's like, oh, it's cool. It's cool because he looks 17. So that's a weird gray area where it's like, I guess you can continue to fuck underage girls as long as your physical body never ages. As long as you stay 16, you can fuck underage girls when you're 40, 50, 60, 100. It doesn't matter. According to Twilight, it is a weird gray area. But because it's fantasy, I think we don't really look into it much deeper. But if you were to never age, it would be weird for you to fuck a child, right? But also, no one's going to want to fuck you because you look like a child. So that's why I think the Kirsten Dunst character in Interview with the Vampire is so interesting, because she wants like a romance, and it's like she looks like a child, and it's terrifying, right? You can clip whatever context. I don't give a shit. I know when I say this stuff, it's like context is what matters, right? And I'm glad you said that. Shout out to Cody Falk in the comments here. I don't know if he's still here. He commented like 5 minutes ago or something. He's making a Crow fan film called the Crow Days of Sodom. So definitely go check out that trailer if you're a big Crow fan and support his project. So shout out to Cody. And yeah, Claudia from Interview with the Vampire can be considered a killer kid, but she isn't exactly evil, more of a tragic and misguided character. But once again, is she a kid, right? Any kid vampire, like the kid in Near Dark, any of these vampire movies that have kids in them, or The Lost Boys, right? Like they're supposed to be teenagers. Are they teenagers? They're not teenagers. They've been vampires for a while. Now, I think with Lost Boys, I don't know how long ago they were turned. I actually don't remember. I think they were turned more recently, though. So I think they are actually pretty close to their age. But if you've been a vampire for 40 years and you're 12 when you were turned, you're not fucking 12 anymore. Okay, so that's a weird thing with never aging. The Lost Boys is coming back to theaters. Oh, that's cool. Samara from The Ring. Yeah, I mean, she has the body of a child, but she's been dead for, decades. So it's weird. There are like legitimately killer kid movies like Bloody Birthday, like Eden Lake, like Them, like Better Watch Out, Children of the Corn. These are all actual kids. Like there's no argument there. Now, something like Gage, right, from Pet Sematary. Gage is a killer kid for sure, but he's been corrupted by the Pet Sematary to be evil. We need to talk about Kevin is the perfect example of a legitimate killer kid. And probably the scariest kid ever on screen to me, because that's the most realistic depiction of an evil child I've ever seen in my entire life. The performance there from all of the kids. I've never seen better casting from like aging up actors that look the same and actually feel like the same actor, but just older. But we need to talk about Kevin. Every kid in that movie that they cast genuinely looks dead in the eyes. And throughout, just the way that the kid acts is red flag after red flag after red flag. And it's horrifying. And Tilda Swinton is fantastic in it. And, it's kind of funny now because Ezra Miller is kind of the troubled kid He's not a kid anymore, but he's obviously had a lot of issues, and people were like boycotting the Flash because of shit he's done. And, I get all of that. So there's probably a reason why Ezra was able to play him so well, is because Ezra does have actual issues. But, and then the bad seed. I think the bad seed is kind of like the original evil child that just genuinely is evil. She genuinely is just a kid who is messed up in the head and wants to do evil things, right? As to where something like The Brood is these kids who were like a lab experiment gone wrong, and they can't even really control their emotions because their emotions are connected to the father or whatever. Like, that's a whole nother thing. And there's so many different variations of killer kids. Village of the Damned, yeah, the Village of the Damned are they're like, I don't even honestly know what the fuck they are. I've seen all of the Village of the Damned movies. I saw Village of the Damned, Children of the Damned, and the Village of the Damned remake from John Carpenter. But yeah, the whole town passes out, and when they wake up, every girl that is able to get pregnant in town, for the most part, does get pregnant, and even a girl who's a virgin, which leads to some pretty horrendous consequences because of, like, her father is like religious and whatever. But yeah, those kids are born, and they're all like blank eyed, and they have their white hair, and they can control people and look into their minds and read. That's all supernatural as all hell, and I don't think that they really have any choice in the matter. I like in the Carpenter version. I don't remember if it's in the original version, but like, one of them is kind of an outcast from the other ones and is the like black sheep of them. But that's a cool movie. All of them are. Oh, Schmarlos, we were talking about you. He's here, everybody. Schmarlos has returned. So, well, let's see. Matthew, where were you? She never hit puberty. She never hit. So puberty. So if you never hit puberty, you're not an adult. So if your body never goes through puberty, you're not an adult. Is that your claim? So if you, I'm sure there's a condition where people don't hit puberty, where something is misaligned, some kind of hormonal imbalance or whatever, and you never hit puberty. Does that mean that person's not an adult? I mean, that doesn't really add up. I think what makes us an adult is our mind, right? It's the years that we've spent on the planet, and also the development of our brain. Now, one could argue that she is still a child because her body has been suspended in infancy, basically. It's like she doesn't have a fully developed brain. But does her brain as a vampire continue to develop? We don't know, because it's fantasy. But a brain supposedly doesn't stop developing completely until you're 25. That's when it's like fully developed. So I don't know. It's, we're talking fantasy here, but it's fun to speculate. And then it's about maturing and hormones. Okay. So, as I said, if your hormones are off, then you're a kid forever in your eyes. Like, if your hormones just shut down and you don't have those things, you're good. What's the kid's name? Which kid? And then we got Michael Myers, right? Michael Myers. Now, depending on what timeline you go from, right? Depending on what sequel or whatever you want to go off of, the original idea behind Myers, although Carpenter talks about Myers like he's, an element, like the wind or something, that he's supernatural. But I've always seen the first film play out as he's just a guy. He's just a dude who went evil. That's always how I saw the first film. Yeah, he takes 6 bullets and gets up and walks away, but he's just a maniac, right? That's just, to me, I've always seen the original Halloween as just a dude. Now the sequels, of course, make him into more than just a guy. But I don't know. What do you guys think? How do you feel about Michael Myers in the original film, and only the original film? If no other sequel was made and we only had the original film, is that Michael Myers supernatural to you, or is he just an escaped mental patient? I've always seen it as just an escaped mental patient. It's hard to disconnect ourselves from the 12 other films, even though one of them has nothing to do with Myers, but you know what I'm getting at. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'd love to read the original novelization of 1978's Halloween. Well, we did a comparison right here on the channel for anyone interested, breaking down literally any differences that we could find that were noteworthy. So if you can't find an original novelization, although I was let in on the fact that there is a new release called Halloween Illustrated. Let me look at this. I haven't even looked at it yet. Illustrated. Let's see if I can look at it. Yeah, Halloween Illustrated. So it's the original novelization of Carpenter's classic, and it has, images. It is filled with illustrations. I would love to get my hands on it, but I want to say that it is expensive as shit. It's like $300 or something insane. Let's see. Let's try to find a copy of it. Printed in blood. Here it is. Printed in blood. Is this it right here? Okay, this is it. Printedinblood.com is selling it for $50. 50 is not bad. 50 is not bad at all. Okay. If this is it, this is where it was made. This is who made it. Let me see. Film novelizations have existed for over 100 years, dating back to the silent era, blah, blah, blah. One such highly sought after novelization of Richard Curtis under the pen name Curtis Richards, based in the screenplay, blah, blah, blah. Originally published by, I have this, obviously. I bought it many, many years ago at a flea market for $10. I was looking for it everywhere for like 10 years. I could never find it. And then me and my girlfriend at the time were walking around in a flea market, and she like came running over to me, and I'll never forget, the guy he had this fan film. This is well before fan films were like a thing. And he was playing this fan film, which was Alien versus Predator versus Batman. Does anybody remember this? And it was like, at that time, it felt like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like this feels like a feature film. This is wild. It was only like 15 or 20 minutes long. But he was playing it on his TV when I came over. He was selling copies of it. And also along with that came the Halloween novelization. That's where I got it. But it's funny to remember that. I remember that. Yeah. Yep. It was cool. It was the guy who made it, Dead End. Yeah, that's what it's called. Batman Dead End. There you go. That the guy who worked on it like got access to the costumes from the movies. And so he used like a xenomorph and whatever. Predator was in that, right? It was Alien, Predator, and Batman, or is it just Alien versus Batman? I swear, Predator. It's Alien versus Predator versus Batman, but Dead End. Yeah. Very cool, and it has actually like a decent Joker in it as well. From my memory, it's like 25 years old now, but at that time, man, it was pretty damn great. Okay, yeah. But even in book form, you can't kill the boogeyman. While a simple reprint would have satisfied the fan base, boutique publisher Printed in Blood has gone above and beyond by turning Halloween novelization into a coffee book. Curtis' unabridged text is accompanied by nearly 100 new pieces of artwork by the Orlando Erosina to create Halloween Illustrated. Oh man, I wish I had the money to buy this, but right now, because I dedicate all my fucking time to the channel, I don't have any money. One of the reasons the shape is so scary is because of blah, blah, blah. Okay, so yeah, this is it. $50? Oh, $50 isn't bad. $50 isn't bad at all. I wonder how much shipping is on this. So yeah, there is if you want to read the Halloween novelization, now is the best time to do so, because you can get an illustrated copy, unabridged, with these total coffee table book that looks awesome. I'm looking at the book right now. Super fucking cool. 100 pieces of art, and you get the book for $50. If you were to try to buy this book on eBay, just the regular old book itself, it would be like $200, $300. So $50 is fantastic. At first, it's just Batman versus Joker. Then aliens and predators show up. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember that. Halloween 3 is my second favorite in the franchise. Nothing wrong with that. It's in my top 5. And my top, 2 through 5 are all, tied with each other, basically. So nothing wrong with that. And let's see. Children vampires are often portrayed as children who are essentially forced to grow up, but the growing up involves killing people. Yeah, that's sad for sure. All right, back to Killer Kids. Who else haven't I mentioned? I mean, I'm trying to talk about I'm kind of running the gambit here of different killer kids and different examples of killer kids. Like the kids in Eden Lake, the kids in them, as I said, they're just kids and they are scary. Because, you get a gang of kids together and, they have weapons and they can be just as damaging and disastrous and murderous as anybody. It depends, of course, right? Are we talking about what age of kids are we talking about here? Are we talking about 10-year-olds or are we talking about 17-year-olds? Because there's a huge difference between the physicality of a 17-year-old versus a 10-year-old, right? Like my 10-year-old, I have 11-year-old daughters right now, and then there's 17-year-old football players, and let me tell you, one is not the same as the other. There are definitely 16, 17-year-old guys that could physically overpower me for sure. There are some freaking freak of nature kids. I mean, have you ever seen pictures of Mike Tyson when he was 18 years old? Oh my God, what the fuck? Or The Rock. I remember seeing a picture of The Rock when he was 16. What? These dudes are just freaks of nature. So yeah. There's also Jason Voorhees, who pops up in the water at the end of Friday the 13th. I personally think that's a dream, so I wouldn't really call that a kid. Michael Myers in Rob Zombie's Halloween, the whole first 45 minutes, that Michael is 100% just an evil kid. And holy shit, is he evil. Duct taping his stepfather, who deserved it, by the way. Don't get me wrong. Ronnie's a piece of shit. But regardless, duct taping him to the couch and then slicing his throat and going up and beating his freaking sister's boyfriend over the head with a baseball bat. If a 10, 11-year-old boy takes a baseball bat to the back of your head when you're not looking, there's not many people who are going to be able to do anything about that. Your body can only take what your body can take. People always talk about how tough they are because this guy hit, what a pussy, he got knocked out. It's you can't control what knocks you out. Right? You don't have control over when your body decides to go unconscious. That's not a conscious decision. You can be as tough as you want, but if your body says it's night time, it's fucking night time, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't fight through that. So yeah, if some kid takes a baseball bat to the back of your head when you're not looking, I don't care how tough you are, If your body wants to go out, and while you're on the ground, he just continues to keep clubbing away on your head, what are you going to do about that? There's nothing you can do about that. So kids have just as much opportunity to be killers as anyone, as long as they take you by surprise, or if they're like 17-year-old freaks, like we talked about, or or if they're supernatural, if they're vampires, or if they're like freaking aliens or whatever the hell. But some of my favorite killer kids are the kids from Bloody Birthday. I've always been a big fan of that movie. Billy Jacoby, who is Buddy in one of my very favorite teen comedies of the 80s, just one of the guys. He's one of the kids in that. All three of them are like born under this certain moon that connects them together, and it makes them want to kill together, and they do so. Always love that movie. The kids in that are just evil as shit. When they, and then, you could also say, I mean, it just depends. As I said, when we think about killer kids, we typically think of like younger kids, right? We typically gravitate towards children who look like children, as opposed to like on the cusp of being an adult where they're like 17. Like for instance, in like Blood Rage, I want to say, aren't they supposed to be like 17 when he escapes the mental institution? How old are the twins in Blood Rage? I can't remember their age, but I want to say they're in high school, right? And then there's a lot of stuff like that. Like for instance, Scream. Scream's a perfect example. Like you could call Billy Loomis, right, a kid, right? Stu and Billy are like 17, 16 years old, right? So technically, the killers in Scream are killer kids. But that's not what we think of, because Skeet Ulrich looks like an adult, because he fucking is an adult. He's like 25 years old in that movie. But technically, they would be killer kids, right? So I don't know. Like, what do we consider a child? What do we consider a killer kid here? Like Gage from Pet Sematary is like 2 years old. I mean, there's no question, right? The little baby from It's Alive, right? That's like a baby. That's an actual baby. So there's no doubt that that's like a killer kid. It's not even a killer kid. It's a killer infant, which is a rare subgenre of horror, because they're infants. It's kind of hard to make an infant look like they're killers. But I don't know. Like, would you consider Billy Loomis and Stu Moccasin as killer kids? They technically are, but I've never seen them in a list of killer kids ever. I've never seen that. I've looked at a lot of different lists in my life, and I'm looking at one right now. Movies with evil children. The Exorcist, Pet Sematary, Orphan, Brood, Children. The children, Better Watch Out, Eden Lake, Orphanage. You would never see Scream on here. But they are technically kids, right? They are technically under the age of 18 when they do their killings. So they should technically be killer kids. But I wouldn't see them that way, right? I think that's like killer young adults, right? I guess that's how we would see them. They're not children anymore. They're young adults. So at what age does that cut off? 12, 13, 14? Like where do you guys think? What do you think? What's the age to where you feel like they don't really fall into the camp of killer kids anymore? Right? But like when we talk about them, traditionally, we'll be like, you're still a kid, or like they're literally legally still children until they're 18. By law, they are children. Literally, until the day you turn 18, you are considered a child. Like when you file your taxes and you have your dependents, anyone under 18 is considered a child. So you are literally, but in the eyes of the law, children until you're 18 years old. But I don't know. We got 15 here. We got 13 here. Puberty. I mean, puberty puberty happens all over the place, right? Like the puberty can be from 10 to 14, 15. Like Carrie doesn't even get her period till she's 17. Like, is she a kid up until then? That's so hard. I have no idea. For the sake of the conversation, 15. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's tough because it depends. There's people who just look like kids who look younger, and then there's people who don't. Like that movie, The Hole, with Keira Knightley, and I think even Thora Birch is in that. But Keira Knightley's like 15 years old in that movie, right? And she don't look like a kid. Keira Knightley's 17 in the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, which is crazy to think about because she was like, like she was like coveted by a lot of dudes when that movie came out. She was like the hot thing of the time when Pirates came out. And it was like, we all know this girl's underage, right? But so yeah, I don't fucking know. But getting back to it, let's see. The Orphanage, that's one I haven't seen. I saw it when it came out, but I haven't seen it since. So I would like to revisit that one. I think even isn't the kid Billy in Silent Night, Deadly Night? Isn't he supposed to be like 17? Isn't he supposed to be underage? Because like the guy doesn't want to hire him because he's like he's gonna age out of the orphanage or the nunnery or whatever. He's not a nunnery, but whatever the hell they call those. He's gonna age out of that, right? So Silent says around 10 years old or under. 13 plus, they're more teenagers. Okay, I could go with that. Killer teenagers. I like that. That makes sense. How about that? Why don't we all agree on that? There's killer kids up to 12, and then there's killer teenagers up to 19, and then there's, killers or killer adults from 20 on. I think that's fair. Does everyone agree on that? How about that? If they're 12 or under, they're killer kids. 13 and up, they're killer teenagers. I like that. That makes perfect sense. Okay. I think we've figured it out. So thank you. Silent, you get the credit for that. So we've put that to rest. Everyone can rest easy tonight now, knowing that. Now we're gonna have to check kids' ages. Like, okay, is the kid in this movie 13? Sorry, cutoff date. How old is Kirsten Dunst in Interview with the Vampire? She's got to be on that cusp, right? She's got to be like 12, 13, somewhere in that area. Let's see. What other movies can we talk? What have I not mentioned? What do you guys feel like I haven't mentioned yet? Let's see what this list says. 23 terrifying horror movies about evil children. We got Village of the Damned, Good Night. Oh, Good Night Mommy. Yeah. That's a good one. The twist in that's pretty obvious, but the twist is super obvious, should I say. But that one's good. Oh, another really good killer kid movie that I like the kids in, and it kind of comes off as scary is Home Movie. We talked about Brendan Bear from Brightburn, Andre. But yeah, Home Movie, I like that. There's also what was the other one I was just thinking of? Shit, I lost it. There's Art the Clown's little sidekick from Terrifier 2. She's a creepy ass little kid, huh? The Prodigy, that movie's terrible. Brightburn, Orphan. Once again, though, Orphan, not a killer kid movie. She looks like a killer kid, but she is a 30-something-year-old woman. She's not a kid. Period. The children. Yeah, the children movies. That's like a whole trilogy of films. Alice, Sweet Alice. Another one where Yes, that's a creepy ass costume. And I love that movie. I think that movie is fantastic. Chronicle, yeah, that's a teenager for sure. So there you go. They had a 17-year-old Russian model be Jill Valentine in the original Resident Evil 1 game. Okay. Samara Sadoku, yeah. Sadiko. Yeah, she's definitely a kid. As is the Grudge kid, right? How can you kill a child? I think that's you're talking about who could kill a child. You know, I've never seen that movie. Weirdly, I've never seen that film. Did I watch The Ones Who Live? Yes, I did. I watched all 6 episodes. I wasn't in love with it like everyone else was. I liked it fine. I felt like the story was smaller scale than I was expecting it to be, and I found the climax to be very ho hum. Just kind of like built to this thing, and it wasn't even that big of a thing, and then it just kind of gets resolved pretty easily. And I was like, oh, okay, that's it for all the time that Rick's been missing. That's it. That's all we get. Okay, I don't know. I like I think that Rick and Michonne are great together, and I think that's what holds the show. And seeing them back together is great. Since we haven't seen them together since season 9, like many years ago, and Andrew Lincoln is such a wonderful actor. But I was kind of underwhelmed with it. I still liked it, but I don't know. I just wasn't crazy about it. Oh yeah, Hannibal. I love that. Abigail, great show. Great performance there too. Somebody also mentioned the street gang kids from Hostel. Let's not forget about them, man. They are brutal. They are brutal, man. They bash that guy's head in and shit. Those kids are crazy. Yeah, Bloody Birthday. We've been talking about that one a lot. The Devil Times 5. I've not seen that one. That one's always escaped me somehow, which is a shame. I would like to see that one as well, but I did never actually get to see that one, unfortunately. Of course, you've got like, the evil kids in It, right? Like Patrick Hockstetter and those kids. They're pretty awful, but they're not the focus of the movie for sure. That little shit in Better Watch Out. I was never a big fan of Better Watch Out. Oh, The Innocents. That's another one. Oh, that one's great. The Innocents is a great evil kid movie. If you guys haven't seen that, it came out 2021. It's a Norwegian film. And the kids in that, man, really, really good movie. But fair warning, big time warning. If you have an aversion or if you're super sensitive to animal cruelty or violence, that is one of the worst that I've seen. One of the worst scenes with an animal that I've seen in a while. So that definitely makes the film not super rewatchable or fun, but a really damn good movie regardless. It's free on YouTube. Jesus Christ, I watched Hostel as a kid in the cinema alone with my ex-girlfriend. We were scarred coming out of the cinema. Well, that's what he was going for. So, let's see. Mission accomplished, I guess. Yeah, so these are all these lists. Let me see. Let me look at my movie collection here out of curiosity. Take this mic with me as I scan the wall. I'm just looking at the VHS right now. To see if I'm not thinking of something. Oh, right. They're what's that friggin' movie my friend was super into? The Evil Kid. And then there what the hell is that movie called? He loves it, and I'm so like I laugh because it's like such a Milo. Is that the name of the movie? Why am I like questioning that? Is it Milo? Let me look. Yeah, it's Milo. I'm almost positive. In fact, I'm even positive. I don't even need to look anymore. But I'm going to confirm. Yeah, Milo. You guys probably can't see that. You guys remember this movie? This is from the 90s. Oh, here it is. I thought I had it on VHS. There you go. There's an Evil Kid movie for you. How many people talk about this one? Not many. Not many. It's been a long time since I've seen that. There's Mikey. There's another one. There's another Killer Kid movie people are not going to be talking about. This is where you got to come for the deep cuts. Children shouldn't play with dead things. There you go. We're pulling them all out now. And then, of course, all the Children of the Corn movies, as you have all 7 of the originals right here in VHS. Let's see some comments. I see you got Repossessed. Yeah, I do. Right here. The Linda Blair, Leslie Nielsen parody movie of The Exorcist. The zombie neighbor kid. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love that kid from Return of the Living Dead 2. The one he's trying to bully him out of his comics. And then they go and they open up the container in the like sewer tunnel. And he's got a cough in bed. I love it. I'm a big fan of it. Here it is right here. There you go. Yeah, I love that kid. And they have the big showdown at the electrical plant at the end. Yeah, I've always been a big fan of that movie. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I love it. I've always been a big fan of it. And then, as I said, you got all the It's Alive movies, right? It's Alive, It Lives Again, and Island of the Alive. There's some Killer Kid movies there for you. And there's a lot of horror movies with kids, but with the kids being the villains, definitely it doesn't happen as much. But yeah, that's just the VHS I'm looking through. I'm sure I have a bunch of fucking other ones that are Battle Royale, a bunch of killer teenagers. Yep, absolutely. Had to get rid of most of my VHS tapes. I just never could do it. You know, I don't really watch them as much anymore. But Kaylee loves to throw them on. She's very nostalgic for my collection. I'm not as much. I would never get rid of it. So I guess I am nostalgic to a point, but I typically don't want to watch them unless it's the only way, right? Like there are movies that I only have on VHS. And when we go to pull them out, right, then I'm going to watch them on this for sure, right? Like if you ever want to watch Rodents Hide the Cheese, this is going to be your only way to watch it, right? There's a ton of movies that I have that are like that are like, yeah, this is your only way you're going to see these freaking movies. So, yeah. And I'm sure there's plenty of other ones that we're forgetting or that we haven't mentioned, but yeah, Mikey likes it. Yeah, remember that? The Life commercials? Good old Life cereal. Man, I remember eating cereal all the time when I was a kid. That shit was terrible for us, but we just ate away. I did like the healthy ones though. Remember Raisin Nut Bran and just shit. Raisin Bran itself is a healthier choice, and I always liked that. But we always would put sugar on it on the raisin bran when we shouldn't have. But man, I love cereal growing up. I don't eat it anymore, but fuck, I used to eat so much of it. Like our diets as kids from my generation were so bad. I honestly don't understand how we don't all have diabetes. Like the amount of sugar we ate, the breakfasts The breakfasts in America are absurd. Like what we consider breakfast in this country is hilarious. Like what? That is not what you should be. The most important meal of the day, and you're freaking just scarfing down endless sugar. You got like simple carbohydrates doused in simple sugars, right? It's terrible, terrible. But yeah, I mean, I think we did a good convo here about killer kids. Um, I covered the majority of them and the different kinds of killer kids there are. We came to an agreement on the age restrictions for killer kids. I think that was our most monumental achievement together. Together, ape strong. That's us right now. Horror 101, the very best evil kid movies. I was hoping for like a big list here. Maybe we're just spoiled, but I hate that there are so many films still only available on VHS, DVD, or Laserdisc. Oh, God. Yeah, you're lucky if you can find them anywhere. You know, there's certain movies that never even got any release, right? But I don't know. I'm happy that I have what I have. But I've been collecting my whole life. You know, I was into horror back when it was not cool to be into horror. So I think I um I'm only lucky because I got into it at a time when no one gave a shit. And it's kind of like, remember when uh NES cartridges were a dime a dozen, right? You could go to, when you used to go to the thrift stores in the like early 2000s, late 90s, there was just like buckets and bins full of NES games. You could just find them like by the freaking pound, and they were like 25 cents. Nobody gave a shit about them. Now you can't find an NES game for under like 30 bucks. You know, a lot of them, a Contra or something, forget it. You know, Chrono Trigger on like Super Nintendo. Oh my good God. You're gonna pay $500 for that fucking thing. As to where at one point, you know, people were just giving those things away. They were like, I don't want this shit anymore. What do I need this for? You know, and I just so happened to be really into horror my whole life. And I've been collecting it since it was, you know, popular and then not popular and then popular again. So when you get into something, you want to make sure you always get into something when it goes through that phase of not popular. And when it's not popular, that's the time to buy it up. So a lot of what you see on this wall in the VHS is either A, I collected it when it was popular, when it first came out, when it was brand new, which isn't a lot. It's probably 1/3 of this collection. And then the 2/3 of this collection is once no one cared about it anymore. When DVD came out and everyone was like, VHS is for the garbage bin, and they threw them all away, and Hollywood Video and Blockbuster and whatever would change over, and they were like, well, we don't have any use for these VHS tapes anymore. Everybody wants DVDs now. I went in on those days when they were doing the clearances, and I was getting like 10 for $10, or like buy 5 get 5 free kind of shit, and they were like 50 cents a piece. I probably bought, you know, half the VHS out of the like 500 VHS I have. I probably bought 250 of these things for $1 or less, right? And if you were to look for any one of these now, they'd be 25, 30, $50 a piece. It's crazy how much they're costing nowadays. So I happened to be into it when no one gave a shit, right? And that's when you got to care, because there's no way I could buy them now. There's no way I could have this collection now. It would cost me well beyond my means. The way people, you know, imagine trying to find a copy of Maniac, the original Maniac, media, freaking, you know, the closed case, like the legit Maniac, right here. Look at that. Still have the price tag on it, right there. $1. You see it? I had it. It was kind of foggy. Yeah, I see it. $1. Now it'd be $100. Now you'd see that would not be $1 anymore. So yeah, you just you missed out, unfortunately. And then yeah, of course, with like other things I have now, my like V8, like Halloween, Friday the 13th, all that stuff. That's all like I bought them when they were new. Like this tape right here, this with the clothes, the media case. This, oh my God, imagine. I don't even know. What do you think this is going for on eBay? Let's look. I'm super curious because I know like my YA novels. I bought the YA novels when they came out. The Friday the 13th YA novels, the Halloween YA novels, and I kept them in mint condition. They're like $500 a piece now. I bought them when they were $5. You know. Let's see. Halloween VHS. Halloween VHS. This one's $1,000. What the fuck? This guy's selling a pretty beat up copy of the one I have. Oh, I don't know. Is that guy just have really small hands? Or is that like a bigger case? I have no idea. Yeah, this one's really beat up, but he's got it for $40. That's not bad. Yeah, I mean you can get a copy like the one I have for around $60. It looks. One thing I've always wanted, and I wish I had, was a beta. I used to have one, but they're $400, which is just fucking absurd. But it is what it is. But yeah, there's so many things. Anyway, I don't know. I've always loved collecting this stuff. Physical media is very cool to us, horror fans and horror collectors. And I have no interest on ever getting rid of it. But when I pass on, I don't know, my kids can do whatever the hell they want with it. If Kaylee's still around, it'll be hers. But eventually, I would probably just tell my kids to sell it, make as much as they can. How much do you think this should? We're probably going to go through it again, right? Like this eventually will be garbage to people, right? Like one day, people will look at this stuff and they'll be like, "Who the hell wants the Blob on VHS?" Like, some people look at that and they're like, "I'd pay fucking $100 for that," and then other people are like, "I wouldn't pay 5 cents for that." So, I'm not really sure who makes up these prices, but do you think that in 20 years these are going to be more expensive, or do you think we're going to go through another period where no one gives a shit? What do you guys think? I'm curious. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Zombies Ate My Neighbors and True Lies, Mega Man, SNES, hell yeah. Some PS2 games go for $150 for PS2 games. Holy shit. People are starting to make custom VHSs of modern movies. Yep, I've seen that. I just picked up the only VHS copy of the 85 comedy Hot Resort starring Bronson Pinchot and Dan Schneider on eBay for $20. Only 2 other copies. Oh, you mean on eBay? Yeah. That's the dude from Perfect Strangers, right? Valky, the guy from the Langoliers. Yeah. I love him. I'd never get rid of him. But yeah, that's Killer Kids. I don't know what else to say on the matter. We said some stuff. We went through it together. You guys are the best. My wife is back. Hello, honey. She should be working. No, I'm just kidding. She's got nothing to do at work. Who are we kidding? Before I go, does anyone have any ideas on videos that me or Kaylee should do in the upcoming months. I'm looking to do something interesting. I want to change things up. I've been really going back and forth on a bunch of different ideas. I want to take on like a bigger project. I want to take on something. But then when my freaking video got demonetized last night for showing a couple clips, it's like, I don't know what to do about that. Like, if I'm going to make, because my buddy Lee from Drum Dums, we've talked about this. He worked on a like Scream documentary for like 4 months. And he really put in just countless hours of his time into it. And he uploaded it, and he got like a freaking copyright strike, and the thing was like taken off of YouTube, and he can't share that, or he can send it to people in like PDF files or something, but like he can't share it on YouTube. And all that work, months and months of work put into it for literally nothing. It I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't want to put a month into a video to find out that the thing will not be allowed to be uploaded to YouTube. That would be a devastation that I don't think I would be able to handle. So I don't know what the hell to do about that. A one-off video of what kind of music you listen to just for the hell of it. I think a few people would care, but I don't know. Kaylee and I listen to a lot of metal and punk rock, and Kaylee has a little bit more of a wide array of music that she listens to than I do. But, honestly, I'm kind of stuck in the past with a lot of music. I don't really move on to newer things, mostly because I just haven't enjoyed any music. Not none. There's definitely been some songs of recent memory that I've enjoyed. But I typically just kind of go to the classics for myself. I like to go to the early 2000s, late 90s. That's like a lot of what I listen to. That's like probably primarily what I put on. So I unfortunately am not listening to a ton of modern music, but I'd love to find a bunch of new music. Oh, hey, look at this. Pretty Little Liars Summer School official trailer. That's cool. Kaylee and I covered all of season 1, and we would definitely love to do season 2. So this comes out when? Let's see if there's a release date at the end. May 9th. Next month, babe. May 9th. All right, we're going to get on that. And tonight you should see a Chucky video for episode 6. Maybe a Halloween, what if Corey survived Halloween Ends video. I mean, yeah, we could definitely do more Halloween videos, but God, the internet is just littered with them. But I guess they're littered with them because that's what people want. And you get my last super chat a couple shows ago. I don't know. Did I? When in the comments? I would assume. I feel like we always read anyone's super chats. I know that Twisted gave me one today, and then I don't think he commented again. And then Schmarlo showed up for like 2 seconds. He teased us a little bit, and then he broke out. The brother from The Last Exorcism was a killer kid. Actually, Nell herself was kind of a killer kid. I think she's supposed to be 14 in that, although we established she's over 12, so she doesn't fall into the killer kid camp. Sorry Nell, you can't be a killer kid. Have you ever considered covering the Ghostbusters franchise? I haven't even seen 2 of the Ghostbusters films at this point. I didn't see the all-female one, and I still haven't seen Frozen Empire. I did see Afterlife, and of course I saw the original 2 tons of times when I was a kid. Yeah, I'd be down. I think that's a good idea, the Ghostbusters movies. Those would be ones that I would want to watch with the kids and probably discuss with them. I've been showing them the M. Night Shyamalan movies, and before that I showed them the Christopher Nolan PG-13 movies. We didn't watch Memento, Following, or Oppenheimer, but we watched everything else, and they seem to really enjoy pretty much. Oh, and we didn't watch Insomnia either, but they seem to enjoy everything. In fact, shockingly, my daughter's favorite movie of Nolan's was Tenet, which I was not expecting that at all. I thought that would be way beyond her because it's way beyond me, even though I've seen it 3 times. But she was just like, I don't know, she was super enamored by it. Yeah, Douglas, Arcadian is freaking good, man. People are shitting on it. As I said, Kaylee was not expecting that to be right. But I told her when we got home that people would find the monsters in that stupid, that they would laugh and think it was silly. And she was like, no way. And I was like, yes way. So I was right. I have tons of comments in our Arcadian video that are people like, the monsters are fucking stupid. This movie was so terrible. So there you go. The kids from the Night of the Demons, those are teenagers. They don't meet the criteria. Gotta be 12 and under. Any news on Brian Fuller Friday the 13th? Nope. Not that I'm aware of. What's up, man? I finally watched Suitable Flesh because I was up late drunk. What a piece of shit movie. Your review is spot on. Yeah, it's not good. But I do like that they used some older, for Hollywood, anything older than 30 is like ancient. Some older women that were in like their 50s and 60s as the sex symbols and the sex appeal of the movie. And I liked that. I thought they were both, Heather Graham and Barbara Crampton were both very sexy in that movie. And it was just kind of unique to see older women actually being portrayed as sexy again. Fallout is great. We're 5 episodes in. We would be done by now, but of course we're trying to, cover everything else. But so far, very, very cool. Very good show. I definitely recommend the shit out of it. Some people are shitting on it. Why? The monsters are unique and refreshing because they think the chattering monsters are stupid. Great use of the lack of budget. I agree. It's funny. I thought it was great. In fact, I honestly think, guys, just from the way it's shaping up, I think that 2024 will be a strong contender for best year for horror. I really think it's going to be because of everything we have slated that looks good and the amount of like good movies we've gotten in just in the last like month from Late Night with the Devil. Now you can disagree with some of these titles and that's totally fine. But I think the overall audience score from people who are enjoying them, we've had win after win after win. Like if you look at the movies, like if you look at all of the horror movies that are currently have come out in the last month, there's been so many big successes. First Omen, Immaculate, Late Night with the Devil, Arcadian, Abigail, right? Like we're getting kind of like hit after hit after hit after hit right now with horror fans. I mean, as I said, you individually might disagree, and some of those movies might not resonate with one or, some of you. But because I look at the audience scores, that I look at the IMDb scores, and then I get the general consensus just from people in the comments and people talking in the horror community and whatever, I'm saying, man, freaking all of these movies are huge hits with the horror community. And these have all come out in the last month. So with, so many other very hopeful, very promising projects still on the horizon with Maxine, with Longlegs, with, I made a whole video of these upcoming horror releases that look super, super promising. We could have a hell of a year on our hands. Does A24 have any horror films coming out? Yes. Next month we have, I saw the TV Glow. think Longlegs, I think, is Neon. I don't think Longlegs is A24. I'm pretty sure it's Neon, which Neon is kind of becoming another A24 for me. I find like their films are really fucking cool. We also got Love Lies Bleeding, which just came out, which was really, really fucking good. That's more of a thriller, but I really thought that was damn good. We also recently just got Stop Motion, which I thought was great. I feel like there's so many. Hey, Maya. Maya's here. We've been on for an hour and a half, Maya. Upcoming movies. Maxine, of course, is A24 as well, by the way, which I already mentioned, but that's the biggest A24. And then, of course, Civil War, which I haven't even reviewed, guys. I saw Civil War yesterday. It was fucking great, but like, that's a hard movie to review. I am like hesitant to review it because so many people are misunderstanding it, which is kind of the point. So it like makes perfect sense. It's actually kind of almost trolling the people because people kind of fill in their own commentary, which I think is like kind of the genius of the film. This is why I'm saying it's really hard to review the movie because everyone wants it to have a message because we are so divided as a country in the United States and everywhere. I mean, so many countries right now are at each other's throats. I mean, look at what's happening in Gaza right now between Palestine and Israel, right? Like there's a lot of people who are basically in a civil war with each other, whether they are actually dropping bombs or not at the moment. But the United States is so divided that seeing something like Civil War and it not having a side and not even like showing what it is, and then even kind of trolling its audience and getting everyone to focus on all the wrong things, right? Where like the stupidest shit comment I constantly see on that is like, oh my God, the most unrealistic thing in the movie is that California and Texas would align with each other. It's like, no, dipshit. Like, that's the point. The point is to break away from like what we know. Like, it's not trying to have a message of I'm on the right or I'm on the left. I'm making a political statement. It's trying to be a warning of what's to come and to show it from a completely, bipartisan nature from journalists, the way journalism should be done, to where you are reporting on the facts, showing people what's going on for the truth and the harsh reality that it is, and letting people decide for themselves with whatever you want, because you can fill in those blanks as you will, right? If you're on the right or if you're on the left, you probably are going to watch that movie through a certain lens. You're going to be like, oh, those people are from this side because they act like this, like that's that point. You fill in your own world because of your world views. And I think that's what's so brilliant about the film, is that the film doesn't take sides. It doesn't even have sides, but people are filling in their sides, which shows the kind of like brain rot that we have from media filling our heads with so much propaganda. Anyways, moving on from that. I've seen very different reviews of Civil War. Seems very controversial. It needs to be. It should. It needs to be controversial because we are so divided, and we shouldn't be. We shouldn't be. We all have a very similar desire. Anyway, let's not get too political on here because I am biased. We all are. We all have our political leanings, and I've always kept my political beliefs. Well, I shouldn't say I always keep my political beliefs. I always keep my morality centric to my discussions on here, and my morality is what guides my political ideology. So I feel like if you're paying attention to what I say, it would be very easy to figure out where I lean in the political spectrum just from the empathetic nature of my discussion and discourse, right? Anyway, does Nosferatu come out this year? Yes, December 25th. That's supposed to come out on Christmas Day. The Iron Claw also came out this year. That was at the beginning of the year. Or was that last year? It might have been at the end of last year. But a great film. Another great film. Dream Scenario. I think that was also this year, right? The Nicolas Cage movie. That was cool. That was interesting. I still haven't seen Zone of Interest. Kaylee and I need to watch it. The Kids from Ernest Scared Stupid. Yes. Yes. The best, dude. The absolute best. Trantor. So good. If you haven't seen my review of Ernest Scared Stupid on here, you definitely need to, because I rarely am that excited to talk about a movie. I'm like overly excited to discuss that film. Beetlejuice. Oh yeah, Beetlejuice. Yeah, that's more like obviously like family friendly, not as horror. Miak. Yep. Freaking, you didn't think I could find any this time of year. Authentic Bulgarian Miak. I've seen Ernest Scared Stupid well, I shouldn't say way too many times, because there's not too many times seeing Ernest Scared Stupid, right? There's not enough. That's always. If you've seen it, no matter how many times you've seen it not enough. That's the amount of times that you should watch Ernest Scared Stupid. I have Ernest Scared Stupid on VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray, and I also have like 3 copies of the DVD for some reason, because it came in a bunch of different Ernest packs. Right, I had it in different Ernest packs. Like I bought the Ernest collection and it had it in it. I bought another one for Ernest Goes to Jail and Ernest maybe Goes to Camp. But yeah, I love Ernest Scared Stupid. You bring it up, I'm not gonna not talk about it. I gotta bring it up. I gotta talk about it. Oh yeah, Whiplash. Fantastic film. Green Room, another great film. I thought the film itself was just okay, but I did like that it wasn't about simply stating these guys bad and these guys good. There were clever and evil characters though, but others were shades of gray. Oh man, that Jesse Plemons scene is haunting, dude. Oh my god, that's like probably the scariest scene of the year. Is the what kind of American are you? That horrifying scene. That is definitely the scariest scene of 2024 thus far, is the Jesse Plemons Civil War scene. If you haven't seen it, it's the scariest shit ever, because I could absolutely see that happening tomorrow. Like, if a civil war broke out tomorrow, there's guys that would be that dude in a heartbeat. There's guys like that right now. They're dying to get that chance to be that guy. Horrifying. I watched Ernest a lot when I was a kid. What's up, Allie? When did you get here? I just saw the Zone of Interest comment. That's awesome. Haven't watched any since. It'd be interesting to watch one as an adult. It is wonderful to watch one as an adult. It's the best. It's the absolute best. Yeah, I just couldn't love it more. I couldn't love it more. There it is. I was looking for my Blu-ray. The Blu-ray of this is actually pretty clean. You wouldn't think this would get cleaned up very well. Ooh, Moon Garden is on Shudder. Hell yeah, Moon Garden rules. Oh, look what's right next to it. Alex Garland's other movie, Ex Machina. I love Alex Garland movies. Annihilation. Good, fantastic filmmaker. Moon Garden is a must-watch. I agree. They did copy Breaking Bad during the end of that Jesse Plemons scene, though. Yeah, but it's so good. It's so good. The kids from the film Bully. Oh shit, yeah. I actually reviewed that on the channel once upon a time. I still can't find Moon Garden. There you go. Well, now you know where it's at. Thank you. Fantastic. Remember, download the Just Watch app. It'll tell you where everything is. Very easy. Civil War seemed like it was picking a side, though. I don't know what people are talking about. But that's what I'm saying. I feel like if you think it's picking a side, that you are kind of filling in your own thoughts on that. Like, I do see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying to a degree. And I feel like you could connect the dots, right? If you want to, and you really try to like say, okay, I think because this kind of lines up with this and that a bit. But I just feel like it just does a very good job of really just kind of illustrating the, you know, the folly of something like that. Like, why we would even do that is so beyond me. Like, I don't know what it's going to, what it's going to solve. We're all just going to hurt each other. There's no purpose to any of it. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, as I said, it's a very hard movie to discuss. And I think that it's a hard film to discuss because we are in divided times, and it's a very divisive film because of our own political biases. So it's very, 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 very hard to discuss that film without getting political, without getting, going, oh, well, those are the bad guys because they are like, so that, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. The little actress in that is so adorable. Oh, by the way, one thing that we didn't mention in our Abigail review last night is how fucking phenomenal the actress who plays Abigail is. That's something that we dropped the ball on. I apologize. We should have talked about it in there. I'll take as much blame as Kaylee on that one. But yeah, her name is Alicia Weir. She is the girl who played Matilda in the musical from Netflix, which was actually really damn good. My kids and I really enjoyed that. She was fantastic as Matilda, and she's phenomenal as Abigail. I think she carries that film. I think she is such a force to be reckoned with. I think her performance is top tier. I think the little girl who plays Megan, and also the little girl who plays the girl opposite Megan in Megan is excellent. So a lot of really great kid performances lately in horror. But I thought that Alicia Weir was extraordinarily good because she plays innocent so well, and then she plays evil so well. And when she's killing people and she's doing her like ballet while she's doing it, I thought she was always menacing and fun, and she had such a presence on screen. So God, I loved it so much. Oh yeah, the little actress in Moon Garden. Yeah, she's only like 3 years old. She was great in that. So yeah, just huge shout out to her. She deserved much better from us. We failed her. We're the worst. We apologize. You guys deserve better from us. And he wrote Dread. Yes, he did. Alex Garland did indeed write Dread. Another fantastic film. I love Annihilation. I love Men. I know a lot of people are not huge fans of that movie, but I was a big fan of that movie. Sunshine's a cool movie. 28 Days Later is excellent, of course. That was like his first thing. And then the novelization that he wrote, not novelization, but The Beach. I also watched his show Devs, which I really enjoyed. I'm a big Alex Garland fan. I think there are some things I haven't seen of his, but for the most part, I've seen all of the obvious titles that he has done. But yeah. So, all right. Main character of Men is the lead in the Devil in Me video game. Okay, cool. But anyway, have I seen the trailer for In Violent Nature? Yes, I have. I think it looks great, and I'm heavily looking forward to it. I think it looks super, super exciting. Someone out there just clipped Jason saying, I love men. That's fine. It's raining men. I love men. I love dicks in my mouth. You can clip that out. There's no way for me to spin that one. There's no context for that. I love men's dicks all up in and around me. There you go. There's a sound clip for you to edit. Yeah, actually, you don't have to edit. You can just clip it right on out. But nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares because I'm nobody. Anyways, guys, I love you. I'm gonna go. It's been way longer than I expected to stay on here, and I got some men to meet up with because you know how much I love them. Sorry, Kaylee. How that's so cool that you have that like little, Duritan, when you commented earlier, you put on that little like extra guy that little sticker that you got alongside of your membership. And earlier you made a comment where you put that and you put it right under the Ghostface mask. And when you did that, it looked like it was the body for Ghostface. And I was like, how the hell did he do that? How did he get it to look like that? And I didn't realize that was just like a little sticker that you put under it. And I'm seeing it now because it's a distance away from it. But back then I was looking at it like, how the fuck did he do that? So that's super cool. Did you notice that when you looked at that? Laughing my ass off. Love you, Jason. Have a great night. Keep up the great reviews and suggestions. Thank you. Everyone, make sure, this is my last thing I say, get out to Abigail. If you like really, really fucking fun horror movies, it is a great time. If you loved like Ready or Not and you're wanting like a follow-up in that style, but with like a vampire, get to the theater. Support it. It's a really fun time. So yes, thank you guys. Love you, and I'll see you soon. Adios, everybody. Bye.